The U.S. government tracked syphilis in 600 black men without treating them from 1932 to 1972, even after penicillin became the cure. They were told they were receiving treatment, but weren't. Many died, went blind, or passed the disease to loved ones.
Hello.
Hi.
Who am I here with today?
Rebecca Satal. I am a chemistry teacher at East Orange Campus High School as well as a robotics coach.
Nice. Are you of any ethnic background?
I am Haitian descent. I was born in the United States, but my parents are Haitian immigrants, now citizens.
Nice.
Under the Trump administration, the public charge rule was expanded, allowing immigration officials to deny green cards to people who used Medicaid or other public services.
So, hate crime in healthcare, it hasn't been a crime unless someone has broken a law. So someone can be racist, but that's not illegal per se. But if I have done something to either hinder services or anything like that, then it becomes criminal, usually like lawsuit worthy of things like that. But there is an issue in healthcare where people who are of a certain ethnicity can sometimes be like, no, I'm not going to give you service or give you adequate service because of your ethnicity. Is that legal? No, there are laws against that, but you have to then prove it. So, yeah, that was a little hate crime in healthcare. I'm like, wait, what? So, yeah. But there are definitely high prejudices in the healthcare profession.
How can you describe the psychological and physical impacts on victims of hate crime? Your personal opinion, how do you believe people tend to react when they have to face certain situations?
If you're talking about like a overt type of hate crime, that type of trauma can may hinder someone from going to certain specific areas, can hinder them from going into certain places, interact with certain ethnicities. And the same thing goes with passive type of hate crimes. The subtle things and even, blocking another person from getting access, it can get you a little apprehensive with trying to interact with anyone who even resembles that ethnicity. I went to a PWI, which is a predominantly white institution, and, it took me a while to realize, not all Caucasian people were the same, but at the same time, they were still ignorant people in high places. I had a professor who I truly believe did not treat me fairly because of my ethnicity. I don't think there's necessarily a way to, per se, vet someone, but I think if we integrate in the education of healthcare professionals or educators or any type of job, if we put into training immersive experiences for people to have to force them to interact with people of all ethnic backgrounds, religions, people with different sexualities, if you're now in the same room and you're like forced to now interact in certain things, you start to then have to have certain conversations and you realize our differences don't outweigh our similarities. And so can you pinpoint whether or not someone is going to be prejudiced off the top of head? Probably not, because people can hide that very well. The North is known for very covert people who are prejudiced. As opposed to the South. But if we're able to now put these people unawares, like this is part of our training, then all of a sudden the racist, homophobe, xeno person comes in and realizes, man, we have a lot more in common than I thought. It shifts their perspective, and then we kind of start dismantling that ignorance, and people start making sound decisions.
Immigrants in detention often receive inadequate, delayed, or denied medical care, a form of systematic abuse that has led to preventable deaths.
There are healthcare professionals that try to put one over on me, especially when I have older parents. My mom is a healthcare professional, so she's like, she can cut through the BS. My dad is not, so when I go, he's been in the emergency room a couple of times, I literally have to put my foot on the neck so they can know. I need to know all the tests. I need to read what you're saying. I need to ask questions, because you're not just going to shift over my dad, because my dad is not just a black man, but he's also an elderly person. And a lot of people tend to shuffle along elderly people as well. So just being educated when you're going into those kind of places, and make sure you have advocates, make sure you have a proxy person that you assign if you have continuous healthcare things, next to kin that know how to operate and navigate the healthcare world.
It would be your experiences. Have you had any negative
I
experiences?
intentionally pick doctors who look like me.
Well, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.